Hi readers, welcome back to my channel. Lila Wanders and Reads. Lee here, and welcome to my weekend books, the final weekend books of 2024. I realized after I sat down to do this video that I actually included The Charm Offensive in last week's weekend books, but whatever, it's coming in here again because I have it counted as finishing it this week. So this week, I will have finished 3 books, and then I will start on my final book of 2024, and I'll talk about that at the very end. So, let's get started. December has been not as good a month reading-wise as I'd hoped it would be. Part of it was because I got sick mid-month, the week before Christmas, and I did not do any reading that week. I just laid on the couch and binge-watched Netflix. But I picked up The Charm Offensive after another book offended me by being so terrible. And I knew that Alison Cochrun was good. I knew I loved her writing, and this one did not disappoint. In The Charm Offensive, Dev Deshpande has always believed in fairy tales, so it's no wonder he spent his career crafting them on the long-running reality dating show Ever After. I love a book set in a reality TV show. As the most successful producer in the franchise's history, Dev always scripts the perfect love story for his contestants, even as his own life crashes and burns. But then the show cast disgraced tech wunderkid Charlie Winshaw as its star. And as I mentioned last week, he's not really disgraced. His friend and co-worker or co-partner, whatever, decided he didn't want him to be in the company anymore because he's neurodivergent. Charlie is far from the romantic Prince Charming Ever After expects. He doesn't believe in true love and agreed to appear on the show only as a last-ditch effort to rehabilitate his image. In front of the cameras, he's a stiff, anxious mess with no idea how to date 20 women on national television. As Dev fights to get Charlie to connect with the contestants on a whirlwind worldwide tour, they begin to open up to each other. And Charlie realizes he has better chemistry with Deb than with his co-stars. But even reality TV has a script, and in order to find their way to happily ever after, they'll have to reconsider whose love story gets told and why. Like I said, I loved this book. It was exactly what I needed, especially coming off being ill, and it got me thinking about something that I am probably going to do a video on in 2025. And I've been reading a good bit of romance lately, mostly because I was looking for lighter reads, and I was trying to find something to get me out of my slump. But instead they were making me angry, and I found that I've discovered I turn a lot to queer romance, because more than straight romance lately, because they don't contain as much internalized misogyny. Everything has its issues, but this is the book that really kind of made me start thinking about this. In here, Dev and Charlie are having a conversation. Charlie says, "Yeah, I've seen the movie. I didn't grow up under a rock." And The Notebook is a prime example of the problematic tendencies in popular romantic media. And it's just something I've been noticing more and more lately is most romances are written by women. And yes, we all want a happily ever after, but there's little things in there, and it really stuck out to me in a book I'll cover in my my December reading recap. How some things are just kind of brushed aside and not called out for the problematic thing that they are. So anyway, that's just a little food for thought, and it's something I'm going to be on the lookout for, and probably do a video about sometime in 2025. Anywho, love this book. Highly recommend it. It is cute. It is fun. And it's not problematic at all. After The Charm Offensive, I ended that at the beginning of Christmas week, and I was determined determined that I was going to finish Lonesome Dove. And I finished it last night. I loved this book too. There was a point just before midway where I thought about giving it up. But I realized I thought about giving up just because this was very long. But during Christmas week, I had plenty of time off to sit and read, and it took hours. And I loved it. I'm kind of at a loss for words. Let me read the back. The back does not talk a lot about what it's about. And I went online, looked at Goodreads, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They all give the same description. So I'll share it here with you. A love story, an adventure, and an epic of the frontier, Larry McMurtry's Pulitzer Prize-winning classic, Lonesome Dove, the third book in the Lonesome Dove tetralogy, but I believe it is the first that he wrote, is the grandest novel ever written about the last defiant wilderness of America. Journey to the dusty little Texas town of Lonesome Dove and meet an unforgettable assortment of heroes and outlaws, whores and ladies, Indians and settlers. Richly authentic, beautifully written, always dramatic, Lonesome Dove is a book to make us laugh, weep, dream, and remember. And yes, all of that is true. What they don't tell you on the back is that it starts out in Lonesome Dove. I'm going to try to go through this without spoilers. But then it's about a journey that they take through the wilderness. But the wilderness is the plains, and they're going up to Montana, from Texas to Montana. And it is rough. Like I said, I'm so glad I finished it. Am I going to read the others in the tetralogy? No, probably not. I think leaving these characters, knowing them here and leaving them here is perfect for me. I think sometimes writers write more, and correct me if I'm wrong if you read the rest of them, because readers want more about the characters. And there's I think there are 2 books that are before this. I don't want to go back and see some of their lives before. I want to leave them where I found them in this book. It was beautiful. It made me laugh out loud. I did want to say, this is a little bit like Game of Thrones. Don't get attached to anybody because this is rough. But it's funny and poignant and beautiful. Sometimes you approach a book and you're like, oh, that person's not going to die. Oh, yeah, they do. It's just a statement on, I don't know. I'm not smart enough, I guess. But I loved all the characters. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I have no words. I'm going to work on my words next year. But I just finished this. This is so close to me. I am deciding on if this is going to go in the top books of 2024. Interestingly enough, I purchased this copy on December 28th, 2023. And so it took me a year to read it. And I don't remember why. I probably saw it on someone's YouTube channel. And I don't remember, like I said, I probably saw it on someone's YouTube channel. I waited till the end of the year to read it because it is so long. And even though I've read long books before, this one was just slower going. I had to really sit down. And we've had a couple cold days, so I sat down in front of the fire in the evenings and just read until I couldn't pay attention anymore, and then I would put it down. And I finally finished it. Beautiful, beautiful book. Highly recommend. 5 stars. But read it when you have some time to spend some time with it. I am finishing out my reading week, and I say I will not include this. Next week is going to be January books, so it might be like 1 or 2. I don't know what I'm going to read starting the 1st of January. But I'm going to finish out the week with Deck the Fire Halls by N.R. Walker. This is the 5th, I think, in the Heartbridge Christmas series. I'm actually reading this on my Kindle. It's free on Kindle Unlimited, but I've enjoyed this series so much that I bought hard copies of all the books. Queer romance. This is probably my least favorite, and it could be because I'm reading it on my Kindle. That always has a negative effect on my reading. However, Greg over at Supposedly Fun, who is where I found out about the series from, also said he didn't like this one as much as the others. We'll see. I'm still enjoying it. It's still good. It still does what it needs to do. Dr. Robinson O'Reilly is burned out, exhausted, jaded, and disillusioned with the bureaucracy of his profession. He's ready to throw away his entire career. Convinced to take a part-time position in a small town instead, he packs his medical bag for Heartbridge, Montana. Who knows, maybe the change of pace and mountain air will do him good. Firefighter Captain Soren Da Silva moved to Heartbridge 2 years ago. He loves the town, the people, his job. What he doesn't like is the lack of queer men. Well, the lack of available queer men. There are a few queer couples in town whom Soren can only look at with envy. He wants what they have. There's a new doctor in town, not Soren's usual type, but there's something about him that Soren can't ignore. A friendship sparks between them. Oh, the sparks fly pretty instantly. And Soren can't help but wonder if that Heartbridge Christmas magic that others joke about is real. Because a spark leads to flames, and this is not a fire Soren wants to extinguish. Okay, look, these books are a little bit cheesy. They are very Hallmarky, in a queer way. They are also very spicy. I haven't gotten to the spice yet here in this one, but they are very spicy. I skim over those just like I do in straight romance. But I love the town. I like the people. One thing I've noticed, though, is that sometimes it's hard to determine who is who in these books. And so I remember, like now when I'm talking about people who were in the other books, sometimes it's a little rough to figure out which one that person was. There are a couple that stand out to me, but not all of them. And I scratched myself until I'm bleeding. So that is what I'll finish the day with. And then either tonight or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, I will start and finish hopefully by the end of the year, fingers crossed, The Keeper of Happy Endings by Barbara Davis. I thought happy endings would be the perfect way to end the year, and I hope it doesn't let me down. Every story leaves an echo, especially the unfinished one. Celine Roussel is well schooled in the business of happy endings. For generations, her family has kept an exclusive bridal salon in Paris, where magic is worked with needle and thread. It's said that the bride who wears a Roussel gown is guaranteed a lifetime of joy, but devastating losses during World War II leave Celine's world and heart in ruins and her faith and love shaken. She boxes up her memories, stowing them away along with her broken dreams, determined to forget. Decades later, while coping with her own tragic loss, aspiring gallery owner Rory Grant leases Celine's old property and discovers a box containing letters and a vintage wedding dress never worn. When Rory returns the mementos, an unlikely friendship develops and eerie parallels in Rory and Celine's lives begin to surface. It's clear that they were destined to meet, and that Rory may hold the key to righting a 40-year wrong and opening the door to shared healing and perhaps a little magic. I don't know where this takes place. It's in the U.S. and Paris. I don't know. I look forward to starting this. I cannot remember what made me purchase this book, but it showed up yesterday, and I'm excited to end the year with it. So, that concludes my week in books-ish. Next up on my channel, tomorrow when this publishes, I will do my December reading recap. By then I will probably have read 10 books, which is less than I normally read. December was a little rough for me. October, November, December have been rough months for me. And I want to look at next year if they are as well. I hope not, because I love to read and I want things to be good. I think I'm going to try to be more intentional and, I don't know, not try to have things that I finish like that in 2025. But speaking of 2025, on Wednesday, I will post my 2024, we're going to call it a reading recap, but really I'm going to cover my favorite books of the year, the ones that stood out to me that I could not stop thinking of after I had finished them and still think about today. And then I'm going to talk about some of my January, not January, but my 2025 goals for this channel. They're going to be a little bit different than last year. I've learned quite a bit about YouTube over the last year. And that kind of wraps up this week. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas if you celebrate. I hope we all have a Happy New Year. That is it. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this journey, and happy reading.